В Сирии очень серьезная ситуация.
A couple of months ago, the U.S. confirmed that Syria had, in fact, used chemical weapons that crossed the red line that President Obama put out there as something where we would have to take action. Okay. Now, it appears that they might have used chemical weapons. Again, it's not confirmed and as to who used the chemical weapons, and that happened very recently, obviously, last week. So now, has this swayed the American people in terms of going into Syria? And apparently the answer is an overwhelming no.
Соединенные Штаты должны вмешаться в гражданскую войну в Сирии. 60% сказали нет, придурки с низким рейтингом 9% говорят, что да.
Wow. They say, all right. Now, if Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's forces used chemical weapons to attack civilians, well, then what do you say then? 25% support U.S. intervention.
25% поддерживают интервенцию США и 46% против интервенции.
So what? We still don't want to go. Those are incredibly low numbers. Now, how about Obama's decision to send arms to Syrian rebels? I mean, all we're doing is sending arms. We're not sending troops. We're not doing anything else. This is like the lowest we can do. And by the way, we haven't even done that yet.
Мы можем сделать хитрые глазки, как у лисички, и не посылать войска, а посылать оружие повстанцам. За эту бредятину 27% против 47%. В целом американский народ против всех милитаристических штучек, как и любой другой народ. Дальше я уже зеваю, так как и все понятно без слов, за войну олигархи и всякая к ним примкнувшая гадость, которая хочет править и повелевать.
Said Obama should do more than sending arms to rebels, and 89% said Obama should not help the rebels. Those are overwhelming numbers. Okay, so no matter what I think, it's clear where the American people stand. So obviously, if it's clear where the American people stand, I'm sure that their representatives, the congressmen and senators, and certainly, media figures, et cetera, will represent the will of the American people, right? Or instead, this could happen over the weekend with almost all of the pundits.
Certainly, a red line for us has been the use of chemicals against people. That has occurred. We need to obviously respond to that.
I think we can act. I think we should act. I think we should act for humanitarian purposes, and I think we should act because it's in our national interest to act.
This has happened. I think we will respond in a surgical way, and I hope the President, as soon as we get back to Washington, will ask for authorization from Congress to do something in a very surgical and proportional way.
The number one chief objective is not to even pick sides here, but to pick the American side, and that is to do everything we can to secure and destroy these chemical weapons.
In this situation, I believe our objective is to make it prohibitive for any country to use chemical weapons, weapons of mass destruction.
I do think action is going to occur. Something that gets their attention, that causes them to understand that we are not going to put up with this kind of activity.
Well, I certainly would do cruise missile strikes. I think you can do that without boots on the ground, without having Americans in harm's way. You can destroy the runways. Assad's runways, you could destroy his munitions and you could destroy his fuel. There are lots and lots of things we could do. We could even destroy the Syrian Air Force if we wanted to.
We do know there are 4 warships off the coast of Syria. Missiles are an option to try to take out these chemical stockpiles. And I think that's an option the President should be looking at.
My guess is they will. I've been talking with them recently this week. I think they will come back. I think they will ask Congress for authorization.
Literally a year ago, he said that if the Syrian regime used chemical weapons, deployed chemical weapons, that this would be a red line. And ironically enough, on the anniversary of his remark, they apparently used chemical weapons for apparently the second time. So the President is hemmed in by his own actions and his own words.
I think it should be surgical. It should be proportional. It should be in response to what's happened with the chemicals.
And the number one chief objective should be to secure and destroy these chemical weapons.
So a military option that would be limited to that point is something that he should be thinking about very carefully.
A no-fly zone will only benefit the rebel forces.
The minimum is likely to be a precision attack on the units that are suspected.
I think Congress needs to be involved, but perhaps not initially.
We have allowed this to fester. We've had a wait-and-see policy and hoping for the best.
This is time for us to do this. I hope we will do it soon.
Oh boy, decision has been made. My favorite was that goofball congressman in the middle who's like, no, we need to be on the American side. Well, wait a minute. I just showed you the poll. Only 9% of Americans want to intervene. Whether I think that's a good idea or not, the American side is clearly against intervention. But these guys come out as if, oh, the American people, I just talked to them the other day. We're definitely going. Look, man, the powers that be, and I don't know what they are in this case, is probably a combination of obviously the military-industrial complex, but other factors that go into this, have made a decision, and they have unleashed their dogs. Over the weekend, this was an onslaught. You just saw some of it right there. We're going to Syria. This is not an accident. Those are not coincidental. That is a talking point. The memo has been handed out to the pundits, the commentators, the media, the politicians, and it's not like they just hand everybody in the media or every politician the same talking point, but people that are on certain email chains, etc., that, Fox News certainly in favor of, Karl Rove in favor of whatever defense contractors want to do, those congressmen and senators you just saw, obviously, and sometimes they're literally on an email chain where they get notes saying, okay, this is the decision that we've made, and they'll, of course, use some code words. We've decided that it is in the best interest of the American people to be on the American side of using our weapons to go after Syria. But look, remember, for whatever reason, that decision had not been made prior to this. So it's not a black and white issue. It was a complicated issue, and there were other forces that did not want to go into Syria. And we took so long going into Syria, partly because they have no oil. Because if the oil companies join with the military-industrial complex, we go in immediately, right? So this is more complicated, but apparently they have reached a conclusion. And the conclusion is, whether you like it or not, we're going to Syria.